Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Compass of Curiosities. Oh, we got Ian over here doing a little switcheroo on us again.
Well, I am the co-host, but you're the spearhead here. You should be on the you should be on the
We're
left,
we're both hosts here,
on the
so I mean,
driver's side. But good
yeah.
evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Compass of Curiosities. I'm your host, Ian Murphy, and with me today as guest co-host, Russell Stiver.
Happy to be here, sir. Happy to be here.
So we will jump right into it. We have a bunch of wonderful sponsors that we always like to highlight.
Russ, there it is. Stacy, first one in the room.
Always is.
Always is, Stacy. Gotta love it. Hi, Stacy. Hi, AC. All right, so Warner Paranormal Preservation Society. Ian, you have something to say about this one tonight as well. Warner Paranormal Preservation Society is a fantastic organization that is run by the fantastic and totally bodacious body, Matt Warner.
Man of many chests.
Yes, his pecs are one to be dealt with. But no, we help run 2 locations here in Massachusetts. Actually adding on a couple more. Haven't heard much about that, but definitely a great organization. And good news for all of you, if you are a paranormal enthusiast, fan, seeker, whatever it may be. Jason Hawes of Ghost Hunters, yes, that Jason Hawes just dropped his video tonight at 8 p.m. with him and JV doing 2 nights at the Harstuff Hall here in Rockland, Massachusetts, which is one of the locations that Warner Paranormal Preservation Society and Warner Paranormal Explorers run. So we're really proud of that. Cody and Satori have released videos. Austin Hughes has released video, or Ahaz, and now Jason has released his video. So, Ian, anything you're looking forward to on that episode? I haven't watched it yet, so.
No, so we've had a bunch of experiences over at Harstuff along with the House of Hurt and Pain and a few others. And I'm just really excited to see what they found. I haven't had a chance to see it. And just see how that lines up with just the different things that we've seen and what we've had our guests talk about. So I'm really excited for that. Definitely check it out. You can check it out at warnerparanormal.com. Check us out on Facebook, as well as TikTok and Instagram.
Fantastic. I love this one. All right. Well, you were just there helping her tonight, so why don't you give a little background here?
So Kimberly Ann Empowerment, she is actually a boudoir and body image specialist photographer out of Hanover, Massachusetts, specializing in making you look like you in a way that the world can see. And actually, I'm trying to find a layout here that's actually kind of good, and I think I just found it.
Cohesive enough.
I have some bias, obviously. It is my wife. I get to see some of the things that she gets as far as like the letters and the comments from her clients and things like that. And it's amazing to see the transformations of the spirit that actually happen through this kind of stuff. So it's really worth checking out. You can check her out at KimberlyAnnEmpowerment.com or check her out on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all of the socials. She knows all the stuff. But absolutely worth checking out. She is, I'm pretty sure, booked through
She's booked through 2025.
Well, she has bookings through 2025, but I think she actually has like 1 or 2 openings left for February, and a couple open for March.
Yep.
So definitely check her out.
It was amazing that you literally just brought that up and Kim popped on and said hello at the same time.
No, I think she said hello because I popped it up.
Very possibly.
All right, we're going to get right past this. We're actually coming back live with Get Moderated on the 11th. We're going to be live with Sarah from Get Haunted, discussing reincarnation, reiteration of souls, past life regressions, and things like that. So definitely check us out. We got about another 14 days on the old. I got in trouble on Facebook, so I can't stream on Facebook. So you can only really check me out on YouTube right now. I made a joke. It wasn't.
Sully, calm down there.
Wasn't any. Right. Wasn't anything political or anything like that. I just made a joke in one of my autism groups, and go figure. Autistic people, we tend to take things a little too literal, and I got in trouble. So check us out.
Yes, Courtney, I do agree. Kim's work is absolute art.
Oh, it really is.
Small
All right.
Larry Eisler III. Definitely an amazing production company coming out of there. Such a great guy, very down to earth, very personable. So if you have a chance to meet Larry, he has a whole list of events he's going to be at this year. Still working with him on getting some details down about intro and outro videos, but we will have those soon. And next up is Jeff's Traveling Boards of Wonders. So the person that is putting the past museum, the Traveling Boards of Wonders, is also the same one that is putting on the 2025 Maine Horror or Paranormal and Horror Con in Augusta, Maine on September 6th and 7th, I believe. Definitely a great museum to check out. Definitely some great things to look at. He has it everywhere he goes with them. It's a traveling museum, so he goes everywhere with it. Tickets for them, as I said, the Maine Paranormal and Horror Con, very, very reasonable for what you're looking for. If you buy them now online with the VIP and party, it's $120. VIP weekend pass gets you $60. Does not include the party or the meet and greet or anything like that. General admission weekday pass is $40, and then a single day is $25. So definitely check those out. You will be able to buy them at the door, but they will go up a bit at the door. So definitely get your tickets in advance. And we are actually doing a little fun thing tonight with Jeff put out a little contest a couple days ago. Speaking of Jeff, he just popped in the room. Put out a little contest the other day of anybody who liked, shared, and something else, a status he put up on the main horror, the main Paranormal Horror Con page, that I would pull a winner tonight for a free t-shirt. So I'm glad Jeff is actually in the room right now. So just so you guys know, I do have all the names of everyone who followed the instructions written down. Ian and I have worked out a system that it is each name is numbered. So we will pull up a wheel here eventually and choose one of you. But let's play their little clip here real quick and just give you a little idea who's coming and what's going to be at this event.
The first annual Maine Paranormal and Horror Con is coming to Maine on September 6th and 7th at the Augusta Civic Center. Come meet your favorite paranormal investigators, cryptid hunters, and horror icons. Special guests include John Zaffis, the haunted collector from Sci-Fi, Jeff and Willie from Mountain Monsters, Bob Elmore Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, CJ Graham, also known as Jason Voorhees from Jason Lives Part 6, Ronnie LeBlanc from Expedition Bigfoot, and many more to be announced. Tickets are on sale now. Go to mainparahorror.com to get your tickets and VIP packages now. For more information, check out Maine Paranormal and Horror Con on Facebook and Instagram.
I'm back. Russ isn't. Oh, there he goes.
I'm back again. So yeah, it doesn't just include the t-shirt. Jeff just corrected me in the chat room. It doesn't include just the t-shirt. It includes a one-day ticket and a signed poster from Jeff and Willie of Mountain Monsters. So if you're a cryptid enthusiast out there or anything, that is fantastic to have. So what we're gonna do, Ian, if you want to bring up the wheel.
Oh, we're doing it now. Okay.
Yeah, we'll just do it now. We'll get it out of the way. We're 10 minutes into the show already. We might as well.
Well, we have our guests sitting in the looms, just stuck scrolling Instagram because we're like taking so much time. All right, so everyone has been assigned a number. I didn't want to put everybody's names out there. I don't know, privacy, what have you. So I'm gonna spin the wheel.
I know the names. Ian knows the numbers. Number 4.
All right. Number
Number
4. Okay. And that's that. Number 4. All right.
number 4
Keeping
is someone.
it interesting and engaging, Russ. That's what I love about you as being a co-host. Just
Number 4
really.
is somebody we both know and is very well known to the guests tonight.
Oh, is it?
It is.
Well, I mean, is it someone that would be upset if we said their name?
Nope, not at all. Miss Zoe Mary.
Miss Zoe Mary. Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
I actually know who we're
assuming
talking
that.
about now.
Yes.
But all right. So without further ado, want to bring him up. So some of you may know him, some of you may not. He is the ringleader in charge, the chief clown, the purveyor of the dark and
Twisted,
morbid and wild and weird, and all the while maintaining a sense of joy. I don't know if you've ever been to one of his events, ever met him, but he manages to travel in circles and bring shows to life that are, I hate using the word weird because I don't think weird's the right word, but they're definitely not, social norms. I think a lot of like very vanilla suburbanites would be, off-put or uncomfortable in there. And I was too, the first like 1 or 2 events I went to.
yes,
But
Karens, we're talking
the
to you.
vibe that this man creates in his events is just authentic and pure and welcoming, and it's just such a great vibe every time you go to one of these things. And that's one of the reasons why Russ and I wanted him on, was because of that authenticity.
One of his big things is saying live life authentically, live life unapologetically.
And so with no further ado, we are going to welcome Blackbeard himself, Paul, whose last name I'm not going to butcher.
Hey guys,
I would try it. What is it, Gaudreau?
Gaudreau is fine.
Gaudreau. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Close enough.
Close enough. You guys are good. How's it going?
Very good. Well, I hope you're having a good evening.
I am. Yeah.
Excellent.
Good night.
Excellent.
Being on here with you guys.
Did you get married?
Actually, I'm really happy that you're on because, again, like I said in kind of a little bit of the intro, I've been to a few of your events. I've taken your course. We've had personal interactions, and then also like on the event side and professional and things like that. And it's always such a positive experience working with you, right? And
always.
I know there's a lot of folks out there that don't have that same theory of me. It's a hit or miss, right? Like either it's really positive or like I'm the biggest shitbag in the world. But I think both those reactions, right, come from a very similar place in knowing yourself and having a degree of comfort with you at your core that allows you to express so freely.
Yeah, I wasn't always able to do that, and I found that later in life as I started approaching 40, the ability to really live my authentic self. And I think that's what you feel when you're at my events and when you're working with me is you feel that authenticity. And it's a good feeling. It's definitely a good feeling.
No, it really is, because I went to the first one in April of this past year at Barrel House Z here in Abington.
Yep.
And I was there in a way for your Krampus event that you did at the hall. I was still recovering from my surgery and everything like that, so I wasn't able to hang around long. But the way that people interacted and shared with each other and everything was just amazing to see everybody come together. And the same way at Ian, are you getting a little bit of echo?
I am getting a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just making sure it wasn't just me. But seeing everyone come together, especially at the hall event as well as the Barrel House Z event, The Barrel House Z event, I was with Ian for predominantly part of the day, working our table for Warner Paranormal Preservation. And I tell you what, the amount of smiles and people that were just absolutely happy and comfortable in being in their own skin is something that was absolutely amazing to see. And I talked to you. We went outside and smoked one time, and we talked about, you said living your life 100% authentic, and it's something that really strung a chord with me, because it was one of those things that I just, wow, I haven't done that. I didn't do that at all. And Ian, I can actually contest to this, that Paul's talk that I had with him out in the parking lot actually led me to my decisions of Gettysburg and everything like that, and my future looking after that.
Nice.
Because I changed myself.
Yeah, good. Excellent.
Well, and what I think is even more funny, Paul, is the things that are happening without your direct influence, right? So I think for Warner, right, for the Warner Paranormal Preservation Society, our first real major really just conversation and experience with you was you put on a freak show, right? Like that was our first interaction. And I went into it, and again, similar to you, mid to late 30s, I was just like, this is who I am, and fuck everybody that can't deal with it. Like, I'm just going to be me. I'm not going to be mean about it. I'm not going to be rude about it. But if you don't look like who I am, there's the door. Like, I'm done trying to fit into this space. And I'm also done trying to fit into a space that says, like, oh, if you're interested in XYZ or you do XYZ, I'm going to come into it with judgment, right? And so there was this moment for me where it was like, all right, I'm not going to expect anyone to kind of stifle who I am. And if I experience that, I'm just going to walk away. And so that really created a massive open-mindedness for me in everything, because, you put on your shows, and there's definitely parts of your show that I can't watch. It's the suspension stuff. I can't do it.
That.
But
that's a bit much for a lot of people.
It was so funny. And you know what it is? It's not even like the concept of it bothers me. It's I've had things go through me and then pull, except it wasn't in a controlled environment.
Yeah.
And so there's like PTSD that kicks in for me. But that first experience, as you can only imagine, created a conversation in our group chat about, like, what's gonna happen? Like, is this super weird? Is it freaky? Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I was in this like really weird place, because I'm not quite vanilla. I'm more like a vanilla bean. Like, I got a little thing going on, but I'm not really super far away from vanilla, right?
It's not there yet.
But it was almost like I got to have this like brief role of a delegate, right? Where I was like, no, you got to understand, there's a lot of different ways of expressing. There's a lot of different expressions that are going to be happening. And all of it is just a celebration of self. Like, none of it is like forcing anybody to like sit down and watch. There's no moral, ethical code that's being pressed, or there's no agenda here except for expression. And it's piecemeal, it's a la carte. You're going to have fun. And what's funny is Russ saying that like he had to change himself. I had more conversations with Russ.
You wanted to.
Yeah. And I had more conversations with Russ leading up and after that, prior to the Barrel House Z show, of like, oh no, like, you're going to walk around and you're going to be confronted with things. And there is a lot of scantily clad people. There's a lot of suggestiveness in the events that you host. And there's a lot of directness in there too. And for me, and I think this might come from just being a bit on the spectrum, I love the honesty and just like the bluntness of it.
Oh yeah.
Where it's like, this is it. This is right here. Here you go.
That's the idea. Yeah.
Like, I'm going to say exactly what I mean. There's going to be no minced words. It's going to be very, very direct and very, very honest. And so that created to me a sense of like, oh, I really enjoy this crowd. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not into the same shit or anything like that. Like, I don't use shit as a pejorative or a derogatory. Like, I'm not into the same stuff.
Different strokes for different folks.
The thing I find,
but the truth of them, like the genuineness of everyone, is impossible to ignore.
Yeah.
And like, because you've created that safe space, and it was so funny talking with Russ, because the conversations that he and I were having were so similar to the conversations I was having with myself at 34, of like coming to terms with who I am and like trying to find out like the core. And it's all such an exploration, right? Like,
now, mind you, Ian is only a year older than me.
Yeah.
Physically.
So I think we're all about the same age, guys. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to be 41 in April. No.
Okay. Maybe I'm the old one.
I'm 43 this year, right? So, but that was, and I'll tell you, just so you know, the ripple effect you've had, right?
Yep.
Is just us being in your orbit has created conversations that were actually meaningful, right? Like they were, they weren't, they weren't necessarily this grand revelations of self, but they were these little microcosm events of we were just around, or we're about to be around, or we are actively around a group of anywhere from like 40 to 180 people that are just totally okay with who they are.
Yeah.
And being in the presence of that, one, to me is amazing, but two, it just causes those conversations. I'm sorry, I cut you off like 9 times.
That's okay. That's okay.
No. Like I was trying to jump in there too. Sorry, Paul, but I was trying to jump in there too. But like Ian has known me for 8 years now, which is scary to think about. And the person I was to the person I became now, it is night and day difference from what I used
You are such less a bitch now than you were like 8 years ago.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. I've been working really hard to make sure that happens.
Why do I hear a dog clicker in my ear?
Yeah.
Yes. You know, guys, there's a few things that start happening to you when you start living your full authentic self.
Yeah.
And the first thing I think you really start to notice, and Ian kind of hit on this a bit, is that you start to become more tolerant to, and so people that maybe are not their authentic self doesn't necessarily match with your authentic self, but you appreciate them for who they are, because you have now found to live who you are. And I think that's definitely one of the big things that happens. The other big thing that happens is, unfortunately, you push some people away, right? When I started living my full authentic self, I lost some friends. I've got some family that doesn't really like to talk to me anymore. But on the flip side of that is you start attracting the people that like your authentic self. And you start attracting more people that come into your circle that believe in you and that want to be around you and that have similar ideals as you. And so, you know, you might lose a few, but you're going to gain so many more people around you because of that. You know, because people who are authentic, they're intoxicating. Their personalities are intoxicating. People want to be around them. People want to feel that energy. They want to feel that release, that you don't have anxiety, those types of things. And that's another thing I should have mentioned is your anxiety level drops. You know, when you're not
to almost zero about everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't have any anxiety anymore, and I don't care what people think about me. And when people say shitty stuff about me, you know, I used to get really worked up, and it used to really hurt me inside when people said things about me that weren't great. And now I brush that off. That is the easiest thing to brush off now because I know I'm living my authentic self, and I know I'm not doing anything wrong.
Yeah. And so now your experience, because I've had kind of a bit of a weird journey, right? Like at 33, I was diagnosed with autism and ADHD. by the time I was 36, I was working under a manager who actually appreciated that about me. And so there was even more encouragement for me to accept that part of myself and really live that part of me very ostensibly, right?
Yeah.
And so for me and on my journey, right, like I actually landed an incredible job and built a very resilient network in the course of 4 to 5 years of really embracing who I was. And it was because it was authentic, right? It was because I am actually being me. And there's an honesty that people feel on that. And there's a trust that builds almost immediately. Whether you like me or not, I'm predictable.
Yes.
Like
that's
I am
right.
like, you know how I'm going to be.
No, you are not.
I'm very predictable.
No, and I'm going to say this with this coming up right now on February 8th.
Mm-hmm.
We need more wood. That tree looks good.
Yeah. And you've known me long enough. At what point would you think it was beyond me, 8 drinks in, to grab a chainsaw and cut down a tree at 11 p.m.? See, Paul's laughing.
True story.
Paul's only known me for a few years. He's not laughing because he's shocked. He's laughing because he can see it.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, like anybody that has heard that story or seen the video is like, yeah, that tracks. Like every single person says that tracks. And now, so that's the big question, right? You're imposing what you do on me. But when someone tells you a story like that and everyone goes, yeah, that sounds like Ian, who's right? Right? Like, am I actually predictable? Because no one was shocked that I did it.
No, everyone just sat there and watched you.
My wife was just like, oh, Jesus. Oh, Stacy, it was actually a birch that had been dead for a while. It had no branches. Thing was like 70 feet tall or 60 feet tall. It came down super fast. It burnt real well.
11 o'clock at night, all you hear is,
I think with Ian, I think there's an unpredictableness in your predictability. If that makes sense. Or maybe I said that opposite. But cutting down a tree at 11 o'clock at night is like unpredictable behavior. But for you, it tracks. Yeah, and so, but there's also this moment where part of who I am is impulsive, right? And there is this spontaneity that I need to feed, right? And by nature, and if anybody in the comment section on the side here can attest, I'm a bit of an entertainer, like especially when like I'm hosting an event, right? I want to make sure everybody's having a good time. I want to make sure that there's a story about this. I want to make sure that it's memorable. And especially in those events, that's really when that predictable chaos manifests. Where it's like Ian is going to do something that is outlandish and ridiculous, but it's imminent. Like we all know it's coming. No one's going to get hurt.
No,
but it's coming. So
we're
like
just waiting on it.
We're
literally just sitting here going,
when? Yeah, when is it going to happen? Right?
It's not a situation of if, it's a situation of when.
And so I want to touch on a couple of things, right? Some things that I think are really important tonight. So we're in the paranormal space, you're in the event planning space. We do a little bit of event planning. So there's a bit of overlap in obstacles and struggles, right? Sure. So as you've come through and you're trying to be your authentic self, you're trying to be your genuine self, trying to be 100% honest and really live your truth and express it, right? Because having a conviction and not living it is worse than not having a conviction, in my opinion. Absolutely. Right. So because what you're doing is considered fringe, right? What you're primarily, okay. what you specialize is more fringe related, right?
Yes. Yeah.
What kind of struggles have you had dealing with whether it's public backlash, community resistance? Because you've built a very welcoming community in a relatively short order time as well. Like just having,
Yeah.
I mean, Blackbeard Endeavors has really kind of, I mean, it launched like the year I met you, right? Like,
yeah, it's only about 2.5 years old.
yeah. So, I mean,
yeah.
it's relatively new, but it's taken a life of its own for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
What are some of the things that you kind of come across when trying to be 100% yourself? Because sometimes being yourself can lose you things, right? Like
it definitely does. Yeah.
Okay.
It does. But I don't let those things set me back. Probably the biggest challenge I've had, the biggest challenge I've had to date is usually about venues. Like I'm looking at a venue to run a show at or run a market at, and they'll look me up online and they'll see what type of things we do, and they may say, "That's not for us."
Things, yeah.
And that's fine, and it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me at all. I don't get offended at all. Because I'm living my authentic self, and if that's not what they want, then I also don't want to be there,
Right.
So I don't want to be at a place that's not going to like me. That's part of why we keep going back to the Met, because they fucking love what we're doing, Yeah. So yeah, we keep going back there, but that's probably one of the bigger challenges. There definitely was pushback from the community. We run in a little bit more, let's say, kinkier circles than normal. And that community definitely had a lot of pushback on us in the beginning. And that was really because we were different. And we kind of came in like a wrecking ball. I went from doing house parties to throwing a Halloween party in a church in like 6 months, So we just came out swinging. We came out swinging strong. And we're just living our best life, but that ruffles feathers. Some people said about that, and it's usually people that have not found their authentic self, or have not found the ability to live their authentic self. And so see a group of people doing that, they get upset about it. How come you can do that and I can't do that, right? Or how come you're allowed to do that and I'm not allowed to do that? And they just haven't found that they are allowed.
That question is one of my favorites, right?
Yeah.
Like, because I've had people historically ask, because again, I tend to inject a little bit of chaos into like everyday situations intentionally. I like to push the boundaries. I like to kind of feel out where everybody's limits are and things like that, just on a social level. And I've been asked by almost every group of people that have met me, how do you get away with saying the shit you say and doing the things you do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I've always, and like I've said, one of my favorite examples is I attended a pretty prestigious school out in Manhattan. And I got invited for the first time out to a burger bar with a group of peers. And so we went out for burgers, and there was a gentleman there who was French. And for the life of me, I couldn't remember his name. And so I called him Pepe all night. and he and I went back and forth, and everyone was like, Ian, you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't say that. And everyone's like mortified that I'm doing it. And meanwhile, he and I are laughing and having a wonderful time. And it's because there was a vulnerability of myself that I'm expressing in that moment, right? Where like I'm being genuine, I'm being very real. I don't think anyone at the table thought I was masking or like I was hiding any aspect of myself. And that what made it so much easier to convey that I'm calling you Pepe because I'm a fucking idiot, not because you're French.
Yeah.
Like I'm lacking the cognitive ability right now to remember your name. And so I'm going to mock not only the idea of this whole like racial stereotype or ethnic stereotype, but also myself in using it because I just can't remember your damn name. And so you say this, why are you allowed to do that and I'm not?
Right.
And so I think that for me, and I love that you brought up that question, because truthfully, I am me. That's why I'm allowed to do it.
Yeah, exactly. But that's in there. Those people ask that question because they haven't found the ability to do that, or they haven't found the strength to do that yet. And so they've not allowed to,
So
and I think far too many people get caught up doing what's expected of them, right? Or what they think people expect them to do. And they're too hung up on, trying to make somebody else happy or trying to fit in or, whatever. And so that's why they ask that, they don't understand how you can do it and they can't.
So here's
I think, sorry, Ian, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I think that's actually one of the questions I asked Paul when I first talked to him. It was like, how do you do it? Like, how do you just do what you do and not worry about the ramifications or the blowback or anything like that?
Yeah. I'll tell you guys, there was three things that happened in my life that caused me to be able to be who I am. The first thing that happened was I had heart surgery. I had open heart surgery about 10 years ago. I had a bicuspid aortic valve. I had to get it replaced with a mechanical valve. And I almost died because my heart was ready to explode and they had to do that.
So real quick, do you consider yourself a cyborg?
Yeah, because I tick.
We can bring it back stronger, faster.
Yeah, you can hear the ticking going sometimes. But yeah, so after that, I would say that was sort of the trigger that started the process. Because after I got out of that heart surgery, I was married to somebody that I didn't really want to be married to. I was married to them because my parents wanted me to be married to them. I had the job that my parents wanted me to have. I did what I was expected of. And so after the heart surgery, I said, I'm done. I don't want to do things I don't want to do anymore. And we ended up getting divorced. The second thing that really started pushing me more into living authentically was my partner, the woman that I was with after my ex-wife. We had a breakup, and she decided to help me out all of my weird sex thing. My parents, she called my mom and told my mom everything. She told my employer everything, and tried to get me fired from my job. And so that was a really hard time. I'm not going to lie. That was a very, very hard time for me. But what happened was my mom still loves me and my job didn't fire me. Their point was, hey, that's in your personal life. We don't need to know. We don't care. You're doing your job, is fine. So that was really good. And then the third thing, the final thing where I finally started living authentically is when I realized I did not need my father's approval for anything anymore. And not to get really heavy into that, but go to therapy.
No, go ahead. We're all heavy on this show.
No, Paul, because I'll be honest, a major tipping point for me was when my father passed and his approval was no longer available.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was stepping into his role of being and again, Russ knows, my father was the one that everyone called.
Yes.
And it didn't matter what it was. If you needed an emergency appendectomy, you called Murph. If you needed a transmission swapped on your 76 Chevy, you called Murph. And it wasn't until he passed that I actually came into my own, as it were, because it was it's so there was just such a looming shadow and expectation of who I would be while he was here that it was impossible for me to be me.
Yeah. Well, I remember Ian, and he before Murph's passing, which is coming up on the anniversary. What is it now? 6 years. Six. I knew Murph because I was a bartender at the Elks Lodge here in Massachusetts, and Murph was one of the first people I met. And tell you what, he called me son every day, like I was his own, and he would.
No, that was pejorative. That was
no. But he would
insulting you.
He would yell at me like I was no other. But I knew Ian prior to everything.
No, you didn't. You didn't. You knew my father before you knew me.
I know. I said prior to him passing, I knew you.
Oh. All right. Apologies.
But no, that's fine. But Ian brought up a good point, and he's not looking for authorization or permission. He's literally telling you, because there have been multiple times that he's texted me and was like, "Hey, I'm going to do this." And I'm like, not a good idea. And he's like, I wasn't asking. I was telling you this is what I'm going to do. And it happens.
Yeah.
And it's, kudos to him for that, because I didn't start living that way until just about a year ago.
Well, because I decided, Paul, after watching like your events and doing some of the stuff with Warner, I'm putting on a massive scale campground event in August.
Oh, awesome.
Yes, it's either going to be late August, September.
Don't do this. Don't do it the same weekend as mine, so I can go.
All right. Yeah, well, definitely.
That was on my list too, Paul. So we'll bring that up. That was on my list too.
Okay.
Desperately. So, Paul, I campaigned for Kimberly and Empowerment to go last year.
Mm-hmm. He did.
Should have.
Well, no, and that's the thing is like a couple reasons. One, it's an amazing event for her to actually go and do her photography and everything like that. And the boundaries of her photography are going to be respected, right?
Yes.
Because in your circles, more than any other circle,
yep.
Yeah.
Boundaries are respected.
Ian. Yes. I was gonna say.
Hold on, I'll be right back, guys.
So, what your events are definitely something not of the faint of hearted. You do a camping trip every year up in Vermont.
Yeah, northern Vermont.
Okay. So tell everybody a little bit about that. We're going to get to your newer event that's coming at the Met on February.
So we Freak Show Festival. It's a day festival, and it's at a clothing optional campground in northern Vermont. The idea behind the festival is celebrating that authentic self. Of course, with some of that comes a very there is a kinky sexual undertone to the whole event. But the way I structure my events is, if you came and you did nothing like that all weekend, or you never got naked, or you never did any of that stuff, you still had a really awesome time.
Oh yeah.
And so it's very well rounded. We set up an entire carnival midway. We've got the big top tent where we've got bands and different shows. We do burlesque shows and side shows. During the day, there's classes, so you can learn how to do some of the sideshow tricks, or learn how to be better about putting on clown makeup or things like that. So it's really an adult circus or an adult carnival. But it's a really fun time.
All right. Well, our second guest is back in bed. This is why I normally do it from the studio, like from my office. I usually don't do it at home. But
I thought Ian came back with no sleeves on.
Oh.
Oh, now we're doing this. So do you think the term freak show is derogatory?
No, I don't. No.
What do you classify a quote unquote freak show as?
Yeah. So, I've got this little speech that I give before our freak shows. I won't give the whole speech here, but I'll try to sum it up for you. The reason we call it the freak show is we're trying to pay homage and pay respect to all the people that were really treated poorly in those old freak shows. And the thing about that was, times those people could not hide their abnormalities or their differences, right? And so what we're doing in the freak show is we're trying to respect that and to bring out our inner abnormalities,
Yes.
not hide them. And
Yeah.
so it's all about trying to, again, live that authenticness. Is we're saying, you know what, I am into these freaky things. I am into this weird stuff, and I like it, and I'm going to show it off. And it's a way for us to respect the sins of the past, and try to bring that forward in a more positive light.
Ian, your starter pack came in the mail. I think it was delivered to me by accident.
No, sir. No, sir. That should have been a bush light in a parliament.
Yeah, should have been. Lucky strike.
When I finally quit, there'll be signs.
Right.
On life, I mean.
There's going to be less people on Earth.
But Paul, to your point, I really don't want to move away from that, right? I think you've hit something at the core of it. Historically speaking, right? The outliers, right, to society, whether physical, mental, emotional interests or anything like that, have always been a novelty, right? Like they've always been this almost like an uncanny valley to the soul for normal people, right? Where we're just close enough to their regular Monday through Friday 9 to 5 that there's almost an ability to relate, but we're divergent enough from the normative behaviors that there's novelty there. How do you balance that, right? Because I have people that I know that enjoy my company solely based on the fact that I'm close to being a real boy, right? Like I'm close to being this normal person.
I'm a real
but
boy.
It's the divergent behavior. It's the chaos I introduce into the situations that attract them and keep them coming back, because they're afraid to make those kind of choices. They're afraid to put themselves out there in that kind of way. How do you balance that, right? Where you don't become the exploited attraction versus the authentic individual who's in a place of acceptance?
Like, are we going back to the Barnum and Bailey times, or are we like going?
I'm talking about like Wednesday of last week.
Okay, yeah. Well, no, I meant like, because everybody out there. One of my favorite movies is Greatest Showman, musical out there. Hugh Jackman, Zac Efron, fantastic.
Tremendous amount of propaganda. Yeah.
Tremendous. But it is such a
Very
good
little
movie.
Historical accuracy.
But it was based off Barnum and Bailey.
Right.
Loosely.
In name alone.
Loosely.
Yeah.
But it's one of my favorite movies. And, it was something that Hugh Jackman's character always promoted, was living authentically to yourself. Don't let anybody look down on you. You are who you are for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
But how do you ride that line, right? Because I personally have struggled with it, because every now and again I like being the attraction. You know what I mean? Like every now and again, because I know, or I hope,
that happens once a month at home, Ian. I don't want to hear it.
Planted a seed, right? Like, what's that, Russ?
I said that only happens once a month at home, so don't.
Yeah. But no, I hope I planted a seed of like self-doubt or self-reflection, right? And that's my hope coming away from a lot of the interactions I have. But there are times where like I do play the performer. There was an evening in Gettysburg where I was very intentionally the sideshow. I was very intentionally the non-normative person.
You did that to yourself.
I did. Well, I did it out of spite, actually, more than anything else. is I wanted to be an affront to the palate, right? Like I wanted to be offensive to the folks around me. But when I'm doing that, I'm living up to the
more
caricature.
people.
Yeah.
Well, but I'm also living up to the caricature. I'm not actually a person anymore. I'm now this like thing that is close to personhood.
You're this drawing everyone created you to be.
Yeah,
if
I don't know
if you're going to use the word caricature.
Yes, shush.
That's okay. Yeah, I don't know if I balance it, Ian. I'm not really sure because I live every day who I am. So in every interaction, whether I'm talking to my mother or I'm talking to my boss at the office, I'm living my full authentic self all the time.
So maybe I have some growth to do. Maybe I should stop weaponizing myself.
The conversation might change, right? If I'm at work, the conversation's going to be professional, but I'm still living my authentic self, right? I'm still going to go about it authentically. Here's an example. I like to be super honest all the time, and
which is very dangerous in a corporate situation.
It is. So I'm in a meeting the other day, and I admitted that these other directors had were higher level than me, right? I said, well, I'm the more juvenile one in this space, is what I had said, and afterwards my boss, you can't say that. They're like, everybody feels insecure and they'll never admit when they're insecure. And my answer to that was, I don't care. I don't care.
I'm not insecure. It's just a fact.
Yeah.
It's just a fact. Yeah. It's a fact. I am more juvenile in that space than they are. And so I live that authentic self no matter what, right? It doesn't matter who I'm talking to. And so I'm not going to talk about kinky circus shit all the time, depending, I'm not talking about that to my boss, but,
which is funny because I have.
Always.
Yeah. I have.
My boss called me Blackbeard the other day. That was weird.
Oh, but it must have been nice.
Yeah, he came into my office and he was like, "Hey, Blackbeard." And I was like, "Oh shit."
Oh, I'm sorry for a second.
Yeah.
Russ, I'm not off put by the fact that you just took a slam of pickle juice. Or the fact that you have a gallon jug of pickle juice. It's the amount of pickle juice that's already gone that has me bothered.
Sad thing about it is I had 2 of them. This is the second one.
I love it.
For anyone in the comment section, if you're drinking cheap booze, pickle juice will crush a hangover. It will absolutely
great.
A couple of picklebacks and you are not going to have the hangover. However, for those of you who are younger in the comment section, but above 21, the higher quality booze you drink, the less of a hangover it gives you.
I just enjoy pickle juice. I'm sorry.
So, Paul, have you never felt the urge to weaponize your authenticity?
No. What do you mean by weaponize it? I'm not sure. I understand.
Russ knows exactly what I'm talking about.
You mean like
I'm sorry. Meg knows both of us really well. And the fact that she at no point, knowing Russ, was like, nah, he wouldn't drink windshield washer fluid. Her brain immediately went there.
Next up, cooling.
So what I mean by weaponizing my authenticity, right, is so I worked for a major financial institution. You guys know which.
Yes.
I don't broadcast it. However, the corporate speak and the whole like kind of hot word conversations that would happen, I would intentionally disrupt those type of things with violent honesty. And I use the phrase violent honesty, not in that like I'm being hurtful, but the atmosphere that I'm currently in does not allow for truth or honesty. Like we're in a place where, placation is king. So when you come out and say, now, granted, I've gotten emails and phone calls and things like that asking if I'd be willing to come back to my old job, and directors of divisions have reached out to let me know I'm welcome whenever I'd like to return. Those are the same directors that I've asked in a group meeting of 50 or 60 people, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you've said just so many words and nothing has actually manifested as a meaning.
Yeah.
And so when I mean by weaponizing your authenticity, I mean delivering your authenticity in a space that you know it's going to be received negatively, but you're doing it to cut the quick of someone else, right? Like you
aren't doing it
a bitterness I have
maliciously.
that you don't, that I need to work through. But when I'm around people that are just so caught up in the fake version of themselves,
I get
feel
what you're
the
saying.
need to just be extra me. To really like drive home that like you aren't you.
I don't know. I don't know if I refer to that as weaponizing, but I definitely have been in situations.
But it hurts people, right? Like it can hurt people, which is why I say it's weaponizing. Like, it doesn't physically hurt them, but like, Russ has seen it. I've done it.
Paul, there have been many times I've literally sat there. I've gone out to drinks, gone out to a party, gone out to a bonfire with Ian. And he'll say something to me and it catches my attention. And I'm just like,
I've done it to you a couple times.
Oh, I know you have. This is why I'm bringing this up. And I just pass it off. And I'm like, that's Ian being Ian.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'll get home and I'm sitting here having a drink on my couch and everything. Hours after this interaction. And I'll literally be sitting here going, that motherfucker. Son of a...
Well, it's like, but when you know yourself really well, it's very easy to know the people around you on a level that they might not know themselves.
Yeah.
And plant landmines for them to just find.
I would say the only time that I've ever done anything like that would be when I'm around. It's always a group of guys. Usually it's like guys that I work with or somebody like that. Guys that are going to the golf club, and I'll be hanging around with them, and I can feel and I can smell the inauthenticity coming off of every single thing they're saying, and it starts to disgust me. And then I will start talking about something in a way that exaggerates how I am about stuff, which I know is going to make them uncomfortable.
And that's what I mean by weaponizing, right? Because you're displacing some comfort in someone else.
Paul, I can say this, and this is no offense to you or anything, but I could never see you going to a golf club.
You want to hear something?
Shit. Paul and I will go hit 18.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's set up a date.
I used to go to golf outings, and I was the Commodore of a yes.
Ooh, sir.
What?
Yeah.
So, Paul, I got gorilla syndrome. You know what that is, right?
I lived a different life. I lived a completely different life before.
I have gorilla syndrome on the golf course.
Oh yeah. I
can't
do it anymore.
300 yards
anymore. Yeah,
absolutely.
It just feels too fake. I can't handle it.
So, Paul, I think if you came golfing with me,
you'd lose a lot of balls.
Because it's not about the golf. It's about the 4.5 hours without your phone,
going, having drinks, having a good time.
With the golf cart coming through every 35 minutes, dropping off a 6-pack.
The cart girl.
Well, Russ, I'm actually.
I can't do it.
I think you're about to say the same thing I am.
You know when you're like addicted to cigarettes or you're addicted to alcohol and then you stop?
No,
right?
No, I don't.
And
No, I have no idea what that's about.
Not even a little bit.
Okay, well,
not even a clue.
I've heard of people going through this. And then when they stop and then they smell cigarettes, it makes them sick.
Yeah.
You know, you've heard that before.
Oh, there's no worse group of human beings than former smokers.
Oh, God, yeah.
What I'm saying is like me thinking about going to a golf outing right now.
It's just repugnant.
Like the idea of you even talking about bringing me golfing is just, I feel like I need to throw up.
Oh, God.
I can't.
I'll tell you, what about horseshoes?
Horseshoes, I'll play horseshoes.
Cornhole.
All right, we'll do horseshoes instead.
Oh, yeah.
Horseshoes, cornhole, whatever.
Who's captain?
Oh, that's turn.
That's you?
Okay.
Yeah, captain is me. Yeah.
Are you like Robin Williams?
Captain.
Are you really Robin Williams people over here? Oh, Captain, my captain. Like,
no,
are we going straight?
The captain, right? It's not
okay.
active. Yeah.
All right. I thought we were going straight dead poets.
That's actually one question I have had that has been burning in me off and on.
Ian, you got it now. We got him on. We got him locked into the hook.
So,
good questions.
Paul,
All he has to do is leave.
Blackbeard endeavors.
Yes.
In a
I know
19-inch white beard.
Yep.
Yeah.
How did we land on Blackbeard endeavors? Were you afraid of Tolkien coming after you with the white beard, or like?
It was black before, but all the shit he's seen since then turned him white.
Well,
exactly.
You do know that there's a pH thing that can turn a beard white?
Yeah.
Stop it, Ian. Stop it, Ian.
All I'm saying is if you look at my beard, it's much lighter right here.
Yeah. See, I like to stack them 3 high. That's why I need,
Yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Literally, in my head, I literally just saw this.
Paul, that was amazing. That was amazing, Paul. I like to stack them 3 high. I saw the picture you had before your event recently.
Yeah.
3 high tracks.
Yeah, the tracks.
He's dying.
I'm living the dream.
He had to kick himself off because he can't even speak at this point. Oh my God.
All right. So why Blackbeard? You want to know?
Yeah, I do. Why Blackbeard?
So I've always had a real fascination with sailing and pirates.
Okay.
The whole idea behind
Paul, hold on. Time out real quick. I'm going to lose my train of thought. The ADHD's taken over real quick, and I want to put it out there real quick. Bring back pirates when you're done with the story.
Okay. So I've always fascination with that, and there's a lot of reasons why about pirates, but Blackbeard the pirate is always sort of my favorite pirate, and it's because of the pageantry in which he did things. So it wasn't just hey, we're going to go take over this ship and we're going to attack these people. It's we're going to do it, but I'm going to make them a demon. I'm going to make them believe I'm bigger than that I'm more than human, right?
Yep.
And that's what he went about life with, with all the guns and the smoke coming out of his beard.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
That pageantry, that excessiveness.
Can you imagine if he had access to dry ice? What it would have been like?
Oh yeah, totally.
He would have put dry ice in cannons to make the fucking water smoke as he approached.
Yes, exactly.
All right, that tracks. That makes way more sense. All right, but pirates.
Yes.
How would you feel about coming with me to a 3-day pirate event with a man named Thor?
Let's do it. I'm down.
All right, we got to bring Russ back up because it's actually his father-in-law who invited me to Pirate Weekend.
Oh, cool.
Before he invited Russ, his son-in-law.
Is this the one in the Cape?
Russ, you're going to need to come on for a second. Put that away. You fucking degenerate. I don't even care. You're going to smoke on the podcast.
Right. It's in Maine.
Where is it?
It's in Maine.
It's in Maine. Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
All right,
Yes.
so Russ, we need to get a group chat going with Thor. We're gonna do Pirate Weekend.
Well,
This year.
I work at Spirit, so I can get all our accessories.
Nice. The one that's in the Cape actually asked me if I would be Blackbeard the pirate as an actor.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah. I turned him down because I had too much going on. But maybe this year. Maybe I'll do it this year.
Oh, you got to do it this year. And take me with you. I want to be a clinger on.
I want to. Yeah, you're gonna be a Smee.
I can be Shmee. I can be Shmee. It ain't
You're gonna
no
be a
trouble,
Smee.
massa.
Oh shit.
Oh, I can go full character.
So, Paul, how do you deal with because us with Warner Paranormal Preservation Society and everything, we've done events and everything, we've gotten backlash from.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, Ian, really?
Once per show, man. Once per show. I got to put it out there.
Per show, obviously. But we received a lot of backlash with our Christmas Krampus event that we did at the hall.
Yeah.
And it was literally a
From
craft fair.
all church, just one church in town. It wasn't collective. It was just a single entity.
Yeah.
So my question is, how do you deal with that backlash and that backspark from people of like, oh, you can't come in here and do this. How do you deal with that? Because a great story that I heard is when, oh God, what movie? Was it Dogma that came out? That Kevin Smith actually went out and protested with the Westboro Baptist Church.
He actually became friends and converted the daughter of the founder of Westboro Church.
Yes.
Wow.
And took them to the movie and saw it with them.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
So how do you deal with that backlash?
Yeah. To be honest, I'm pretty disappointed that I haven't gotten any real backlash yet.
It's coming. Don't worry.
Oh, we could bring Krampus into a hall, but you're hanging people from ceilings and shit, and you get none.
I threw.
Oh, now I get it.
I threw a BDSM Halloween party in an active church. We put the spanking bench on the altar. I did that 2 years in a row. Nobody said anything to me. Now I'm running a totally satanic burlesque show coming up in February, where I got it's the demon hosting it, and nobody said anything to me. I'm dying for a church to jump on and start protesting.
Can I ask you, Paul,
tell your churches, tell them about me, tell them to start the spot.
He's over here like, bring it on, let's go.
Bring it on.
But Paul, I think here's the problem. When you spearhead as an authentic person, right?
Yeah.
When you are the face man, you can't be baited.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's not worth the effort. And I think there's a subconscious knowledge that you aren't going to be baited. And so, we're in the paranormal space. And so there's debunkers and there's commentators and there's all these folks that love to like lash out at paranormal people.
Yeah.
And I joke all the time that I'm a nobody. Because in the broader space, I'm not.
Yeah.
But I welcome someone shitting on me. Because there's just
so much.
There's such a profound apathy I have towards their opinion.
By the way, I do know will shit on you.
Ooh.
Oh. We're calling Roland Brown out here.
Sorry about that. You're from Ohio.
I couldn't resist.
What the fuck?
Hey, look, there ain't nothing quite like an old Cleveland steamer to finish the day off. You know what I'm saying? Little Cincinnati bow tie.
And it was some pickle juice.
But so we're kind of at the end here. We're actually 11 minutes over, but we don't have anybody coming up behind us ever, which is why I love this show.
Yep.
We have until 11. So
Paul, tell us about your February event coming up at the Met.
What you have coming up, man? Just whore yourself to the media now. Just
sure. Yeah. So February in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, at the Met, we're doing what we're calling Sanctum Sanctorum, and it'll be hosted by the demon Asmodeus. We've got an actor coming. We're going to do special effects on him. And this show is split up into two parts. We've got the soiree and we've got the spectacle. And, as we do with our shows, we always have this soiree portion where you can come in, you can meet the guests, meet some of the cast. Asmodeus will welcome you into his Sanctum Sanctorum. If you guys go down to then you can see the Sanctum Sanctorum. Click on the logo on the left. So let's go with it. There you go. Click on that.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, I know that person.
You know her,
hey, I know her.
Yeah. So we got, you come in, Asmodeus is going to greet you. You're coming in at his event, his soiree. We're going to have demon waitresses dressed up in latex, coming from Phoenix Latex, who sponsored the event.
Can I ask you a question?
They're going to be handing out drinks and little snacks. We're going to make these little tea sandwiches and these special chocolates from oh Jesus. So we got some chocolates coming from a friend of ours, the Pleasure Witch Confections. She's also sponsored the event, and so you can come in, you can meet some of the people, you can hang out, get a cocktail, have some snacks. Viscera, bottom right there, she'll be hanging around doing different tricks and things for you during that soiree portion. We also have some go-go dancers that'll be on stage. And then we'll start the spectacle. Spectacle starts about 9:00. And that's going to be a burlesque show, but a burlesque show like you've never seen before. Asmodeus will be on stage and he'll introduce each act. And some of them are a little bit more of your traditional burlesque with a devilish twist to it. And I'm not going to spoil it, but some of them, there's going to be blood. There's going to be real blood. Yeah.
Paul, I just got to say, when you did a perfect plug right there.
Yeah.
When you were like, oh yeah, and then 9:00 starts the spectacle and adjusted your glasses.
Well, hold on. I take umbrage. Asmodeus or Asmodeus? Because are we going Greek or Roman?
Oh, here we go.
Asmodeus.
Asmodeus, yes.
Being of the Catholic variety of upbringing.
The flowers that were picked too soon.
Oh, someone has Google. I love it. So, Paul, there's a long-running joke with Russ that after I do a show with him, he has to go to Google to figure out what the fuck I said.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hey, we're always learning. Everybody's always learning.
That's why I wanted Ian as my co-host, because I'm always learning stuff from him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's that odd couple, intelligent and then.
Yeah.
We are grumpy old men. We are Walter Matthau and shit, I can't remember his name. Jack Lemmon.
Because you're irrelevant. I'm Walter Matthau, obviously. You're the other guy.
Jackass.
But Paul, so you told us a lot about the event, right?
Yeah.
What's going to happen, the times it's going to happen, the folks that are going to be there. Where is it?
It's at the Met in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. That's 1005 Main Street, Pawtucket. If you ever went to Lupo's, you ever go to Lupo's Heartbreak Hotel?
No.
Like
No.
back when we were kids in Providence? No. Anyways, it's from the owners of Lupo's.
Okay.
Excellent people, really excellent people. And they love us. They love everything we're doing. They love the diversity and the openness and the authenticness that we are.
Whoa. Can't use that language in the new America.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
I mean, you know, if their hotel was called the Heartbreak Hotel, I'm pretty sure they'd be all behind you anyways. So
yeah.
I tend to remove people or myself if we're going to continue down a road that is going to get anybody in a lot of trouble.
He is very self-aware not to get us canceled, so he removes himself.
Oh, good.
There was like 14 comments I made off camera.
Yeah, there were. I saw his mouth going over there, like.
Well, it's tough, right? Like, we live in a space where, like, we do strive to be 100% us.
Yes.
Yeah.
But also, someone's probably keeping a list of us.
Yeah, could be.
Wait, there's lists?
Oh, I'm on like 4.
Only?
I still own a hardcover copy of Anarchist Cookbook. I'm pretty sure I've been on a list since 1993.
And a white van just pulled up south of my house.
Oh,
hey, you know what? They're not going to pull up to mine because they know that I will be my authentic self if they attempt to enter.
Yeah.
Hard on with the whiskey glass and go and come at me, motherfucker.
Yeah, well, you know, I'd rather die on principle than an empty hill. So, Paul.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this. And Russ is removing himself, but laws are just threats made by the socioeconomic ethnic group in a given nation. It's just a promise of violence enacted, and the police are just basically an occupying army.
Yeah. I can
and
see
if you
that.
missed that, if anybody over on the side missed it, there you go. So, Paul, my authentic self is like rapidly moving to like anarchist. Russ left.
Yeah.
He's not even a part of this.
Yeah, I wouldn't go just myself. I think there needs to be some law and order.
But law and order arises out of anarchy, right? Like,
explain that.
Well, because if anarchy rules for long enough, or even for short periods of time, a hierarchy manifests.
Yeah, to get things in order, to pull things back in.
Precisely. And so anarchy is non-sustainable. What's that, Russ?
I said that was just Secret Service at my door, and I didn't know your address, so I couldn't give it to him.
311 Center Street.
Okay, cool. R-E or E-R?
E-R.
Okay.
There's no R-E because the town I live in lacks the longitudinal literacy to know what R-E means.
Fair enough.
Welcome to the show, Paul.
And you know what the sad thing about it is, Paul? I got to say that quote he just repeated to you.
Yeah.
It's accurate, and it actually comes from Dungeons and Dragons. It's not even me.
He
comes
said
from
this,
a guy that runs a game.
He said this the day before I asked him to be my co-host. And I still let him be my co-host.
Oh.
And now it's
what?
a running thing.
You know what? Here's the thing, right? Paul, every relationship needs a top and a bottom.
That's true.
Let the positioning tell you what's going on.
I'm not even gonna guess.
Well, you don't need to. He's got more holes than me.
Go fuck yourself. God damn it.
So
oh wow.
So surrogately, through his wife, he's a power bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, see, he's bashful, he's timid, he's gonna retreat.
That's okay.
I'm removing myself to say something I don't want to.
You know what? It works though, because I'm kind of a passive top. It's all right.
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah. Well, because I'm kind of a go with the flow kind of person. Like I'll let the other person set the pace. I'm here for the pace, but I'll let them set it, you know? And Russ's wife is very assertive and dominant, and it flows through him. And she sets the schedule. She tells me who I'm going to be talking to every couple of weeks.
I got someone who sets my schedule too. It's fine.
Yeah, Russ, it's okay to be a power bottom through your wife.
I don't even know what to say.
I have no words.
He would say something if he could argue it. But it's okay. It's all right. Accept that part of yourself. Move on.
That's the problem. I can't argue it.
Right. So just be chill about it.
Your authentic self.
Accept that about yourself and move on.
Yeah.
That was the whole. Yeah. Just slug that pickle juice, dude. There ain't nothing like something salty and briny hitting the back of your throat on a good Monday afternoon.
For fuck's sake.
Oh man. Yeah.
So, Paul, the show's supposed to be an hour, but we can keep going.
Okay. We can keep Oh.
You know what it is? You know what it is? So Russ is truly on that journey of self-exploration and self-realization, right?
Oh, look who finally decided to show up an hour and a half late.
Hey, what up, dude? Heard you turned down the hot tub at one point. So Matt's actually funny. He comes on at the conversation about power bottom.
Oh wow!
You know
I
what's
need my
weird?
emotional support raccoon.
Oh, you know what? You know what's weird though?
Yeah,
is most dudes are uncomfortable with that being who they are.
You know, I know a guy. I know this guy. I'm not going to say his name here, but he's been to a lot of our stuff. He's performed at our shows, and you know, he is a heavy weightlifter. He's a big bodybuilder type guy.
Yeah.
You know, and we were at an event one time, and there's this woman came walking by, and she was very attractive, and she was wearing a strap on. And you know, he says to me, he whispers in my ear, he's like, "Oh man, I wish that woman would peg me." And I didn't. I was like, "You know." But he owned it. He owned it. He lived it. He's like, "Yeah, man."
But here's the thing: the more, and this is what I've found in my journeys, the more someone has to be, I'm a man, the more when that door closes and they're in their place of peace and solitude, the more feminine they are, or the more submissive they are. I shouldn't say feminine. That's actually not accurate. The more like that's passive or submissive they are.
Yeah, I feel like that's the same for a lot of people who are not living their authentic selves. Like, especially like
it's that dichotomy, right? It's the dichotomy of who I'm supposed to be versus who I am.
Right. And they're overcompensating for who they really are to make sure people believe that they are what they think they should be.
Well, yeah. And
Yeah.
it's so I have quite a few friends that are in the LGBTQ community.
Mhm.
And I've dropped the F-bomb, the rhymes with maggot word.
Yep.
And they laugh hysterically because they know they're not who I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's context.
I'm talking about the people that are like, I'm super straight. I would never kiss a dude.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like, those are the ones that you find out are like,
it's
reaching on the bathroom stalls.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel I get sad for those people. There's this guy who came to our festival last year, and he's also a very fit, masculine looking guy. But he's walking around wearing I think he had a pink thong and a tutu on.
Good for him.
What's wrong with that?
He had that word written across his chest. And it was great. And I started talking to him, and he started talking to me in this way where he was like, no, those fucking faggots and blah, 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 blah. And he was like really like derogatory and hard towards a bunch of these queer people. And I just looked at him like,
did he lose a fantasy football game?
Like, no, he is just a very confused man. And I found it sad.
Well, do you think that that's an expression of the insecurity that he has towards himself? Or do you think that that's what he wants other people to treat him as?
I think
because I'm always confused by that.
I think when he was talking to me, he felt like, because I'm a masculine looking person, he felt like he needed to say the right things.
That sucks.
That's what I mean, right?
To match your appearance, almost.
Right, to match my appearance.
Yep.
Right. But you really didn't need to do that.
By vaginal pH, just
stacking 300.
He just had a treatment 2 hours prior.
You don't routinely watch our show, but Russ chose our acronym.
Shut up. Shut the fuck up.
Which, instead of like CC and ignoring the of, he chose to go full cock.
Yeah. Cabinet of Curiosities. Got it. Yeah. COC.
Cock. Yeah. He is so fucking red right now.
I want to start calling my
so fucking blush, dude.
I want to start calling my followers.
I feel like if you stand up and lift your skirt, you'd be less red in the face.
So the office I'm in, right, when we built our new building, they had 9 conference rooms, and we had to come up with how are we going to name these 9 conference rooms. And I work for a professional company, and somebody said, let's name them by planets. And the owner of the company was like, that's it. We're naming them by planets because I want to have one called Uranus.
Yep, there it is.
No, that doesn't work.
It's in the middle.
I'm angry.
It's in the middle of the R&D area, and they used red corrugated metal on the outside. So it's a red wrinkled conference room called Uranus.
No. I can't. Hilarious. Fun fact. 9 rooms?
9.
What's the 9th room called?
Pluto, of course.
Not a planet.
Maybe we're not the smartest.
Oh, shit. Look at that. Rob's here.
Dad's coming in to kick us off.
All right, we got to get out of here, I think. Robbie, are you here to let us know that we've gone too far over? Oh, he is here. Yeah. Speak of the devil, he shall appear.
Wait, she...
Oh, well, to be fair, Sarah is the boss. Rob's just kind of here as the figurehead. Because every major organization needs a male figurehead. Rob is here. Sarah's the
Good
boss.
Lord. No. Rob said we're still the devil has arrived. Okay, cool. No, we got the thumbs up from Rob. We're still good to go. We're not getting kicked off. No, I'm actually
Rob
really
has
enjoying.
the ability to just jump in at any point. So
he does, and that's what really
I gave him full
me.
access to our streaming platform, so he should be able to hop in if he wanted to.
Oh,
and
God.
If you want to talk about a power bottom,
oh God,
Rob stack of dicks.
Get Haunted. It's been nice to know you. This is Russ Diver signing off from
this is our final episode of the Get Haunted Network. No. But so it's really hard to like because and truthfully, Paul, I'd love to have a like NC-17 episode where like you and I just go down some rabbit holes, right?
Let's do it. I got some stories.
Let's do it.
Well, so this is technically, I mean, Russ started this show, right? Like Russ did all this. So I wasn't going to do it on his. But since
I'm telling you, let's do it.
We have 28 minutes until the next show on our network comes on.
Oh, we're going to do it right now?
Which I think is still on. Huh?
We're going to do it right now? Okay, cool.
I'm paying attention. You said go for it.
Well, I thought bringing him back on, so I was looking at dates.
Oh, like future dates. I was talking about burning it to the ground right now.
No, go for it. Set the shit ablaze.
So
fuck it.
No,
burn it all down.
It's after 10. Exactly, Kim. We got to keep rolling.
All right, hit me with the questions. Let's go.
Keep rolling.
From not only like one of the founders, the founder, not one of the founder of Get Haunted, but also my wife. So it's after 10, which means
she's beckoning you to bed.
We can get spicy.
Rules are for weaklings.
Exactly. Rules are for weaklings. Yeah.
So I've taken one of your rope classes, right? Like your Nagiri?
Kimbaku.
What?
What's that?
No, the word you just used.
Oh, Kimbaku.
Kimbaku. All right, there was a different word that I knew it by.
Shibari.
It's the tying.
Yeah.
Does Blackbeard know any living Ouija boards? No, but based on our conversation that we're about to dive into, he'd be willing to tie you up and see how you spell. So Damien, Paul, you probably don't know, he has Ouija boards tattooed down his forearms.
Oh, cool.
So he has each side of the Ouija.
I do know a living Ouija.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Look what he does, Ian. Come on.
I mean, this is my bedroom. You see where I'm at right now?
Paul,
yeah.
I'm not the guy that would be weirded out by that, though.
I thought that was your office.
Like, I have a pig corpse, an octopus corpse, and 3.5 pounds of bone sitting within 1.5 feet of me.
I sleep next to human remains.
Oh, on the other side of our bedroom wall is Bob the human skull. So like,
are we like having a shitting contest now? Like,
no. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna take 2.5 minutes, well, maybe 4.5, and I'm gonna step away. And Russ,
yes, sir.
In an attempt to get you closer to you, I want you to ask Paul some questions.
I've been doing that all night, but thank you, sir.
No. Hold on. I want you to ask some Paul questions about what's in the background of Paul's camera.
Well, he's sitting there petting his pussy right now, so I mean,
well, that's a real pussy. So I want to leave you kind of like in the room with Paul for a minute to have a real conversation, because truthfully, gonna put it out there. Russ, you are very Ohio. You are very flyover state.
Well, of course I am.
Well, right, but your wife isn't. So I'm going to leave you with Paul for a hot minute, and you just ask some questions.
What the fuck does that mean? Okay, cool.
Paul knows exactly what I just said.
Do you know
that was
Ohio,
creepy?
Yeah, that was creepy. Cincinnati, Ohio is actually the swinger capital of the United States. So
I knew that.
Ohio's not that vanilla.
I knew that, actually, surprisingly enough. For some reason, I don't know why I knew that, but I did. Which makes me really question my well-being. But no. So, Paul, how do you live your life? Like, I know we've talked about living it genuinely and authentically and unapologetically.
Yeah.
You know, you're involved in a multitude of things, whether it be, I'm like, you're always going to Japan or China or wherever you're going all the time. Which, kudos to you. Like, being able to travel internationally and everything is absolutely amazing. But how do you keep everything for yourself in aspect? How do you work your 9 to 5 and then go to this mentality of who you are as a person?
Yeah, you know, it's made it a lot easier since I've been able to truly live authentic in every situation. You know, like I was explaining earlier, you know, not all my conversations are about, you know, human remains and butt plugs. Sometimes they're about engineering, right? I'm actually an engineer in my day job. So it's a mindset of being my authentic self in every situation. And that's how I'm able to do that. You know, I can be, recently I had to attend a funeral, you know, so obviously there's a different type of conversation in that funeral. But I'm still able to be my authentic self there. And I'm able to be my authentic self everywhere. And, you know, occasionally it happens where I'm in a situation that's like a more professional setting, and somebody will mention, you know, something about my personal life, something about what I do afterwards. And what I do is I just kind of laugh it off. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. I do that on the weekends. That's funny. And then I change the conversation. And that's how I try to keep those things separate, you know. Like if I'm at work and somebody, you know, recently my boss, you know, called me Blackbeard at work, and I don't engage in that, you know, and then we start talking about something to do with work. And so I keep things professional when they need to be professional, family oriented when they need to be family oriented, and, you know, when they don't need to be, I can do that too. But I'm never not my authentic self, if that kind of makes sense. You know,
that
every
really does.
situation is me.
No, and that's actually a very good point, because it's one of those things where you know how to separate those lines.
Yeah.
And there's those times where it's called for, there's times where there's not, and you can, you know, just like me, I feel out people's energies, and I, you know where I can go with that person.
Yeah. I don't like making people uncomfortable, you know, and so when I do meet somebody that I know is not going to approve of what I do in my personal life, I'll make no mention of it. I'll pretend it doesn't exist. You know, it doesn't mean I'm not being myself. I am being myself, because I do care about how people feel, you know, and I don't want somebody to feel uncomfortable. And so
and that was going to lead me to another question: is how do you kind of disassociate yourself from that lifestyle when you have to be in normal life? When somebody says something that's triggering or offensive to you?
Yeah. I guess, you know, what I try to do is I focused a lot on learning about emotional intelligence. And studying that has allowed me to compartmentalize things. So if I'm around a group of, let's say really right-wing, extreme people, and they want to make a bunch of comments about queer people or about, the things that I do, I got to read the room, and
Well,
if
it's
I'm
not
outnumbered, I'm
the
just going to
lie
let
of
it,
omission. The lie of omission is only enacted when directly questioned, right? Like oppressive assertion doesn't equate to honesty.
Well, I'm not going to admit anything. That's the other thing is
Well, but that's what I
live
mean
true,
is
I live
like
proud. So
being violently like assertive with who
Yeah.
you are is not the same thing as being honest.
correct.
And allowing parts of yourself to kind of take a back seat in some circumstances is not a lie of omission.
Correct.
And so like having that balance of like understanding the people you're around isn't a convolution or a dilution of who you are.
Correct.
It's
Right.
just
Like
an aspect of who you are is being highlighted that doesn't respect the whole. Like that
Mhm.
is still you, but it's just a portion of you. It's you're only sharing a percentage of yourself with people. And
Mhm.
truthfully, this is a hill I'll die on. Most people don't deserve 100% of yourself.
Correct. Right.
So
And that's the thing I try to think about is like when I'm encountering somebody that's, really anti what I'm doing, they don't deserve to see the full me, and they don't deserve my energy. They're not owed my energy. And so what I mean by that is I would prefer to just ignore them and walk away,
Yeah.
rather than try to get all worked up and try to correct their behavior, which I'm not going to ever do or ever be able to do.
Right.
And they're not worth me spending the energy to try to do that anyways.
Well, and I think
So I move on.
when you find yourself, right, like you come a lot easier to the point of identifying the insecurities of others.
Mhm.
And so you asserting yourself and attempting to convert their thinking or attempting to justify your existence in their perspective isn't necessarily a justification of yourself, but an attempt to overcome the insecurities that they inherently have. Because the rejection of another is just the manifestation of an insecurity of the self.
Correct. Right.
And so the idea that we're out here and we have to try and change other people is just this kind of wildly egregious assumption of responsibility. Like, no, we're out here and we are obliged to be ourselves. And if that inadvertently changes someone else, or if that, secondarily or passively changes someone else, then that's amazing. But
Yeah.
being yourself shouldn't come with the responsibility of changing the perspective of others.
Yeah.
Okay,
Paul.
Paul.
Yep.
With the show getting ready to hit an hour and 45 minutes, which we always go over, which is great because, like Ian said, I love this time spot because there's no one after us, so we can go over. What would anybody listening or anybody that's going to listen to this podcast, what is a piece of advice you can give them for living their authentic self, of being who they truly are and how they actually feel?
Yeah. My biggest advice there is do it in steps. Do it slowly. Feel like you gotta jump to being 100% authentic all the time, like I am. That wasn't a direct jump. For me, the process took a good 5 to 6 years, to be honest. When I started the process to when I'm where I am today, that's about 5 to 6 years. So it's not something like that. And I think a lot of people tend to think about it like I need to flip a switch and just be authentic. And that feels like you're jumping off of a cliff, right? And so you don't want to do that. And that prevents people from doing that. because things are going to change in your life. You know, like I said earlier, being your authentic self is pushing some people away, and so the fear of pushing people away immediately is really big. So don't do that. Start slowly. Start small. You know, take baby steps towards this. You know, look online. There's easy ways to meet online people who are doing these things, or get around them. You know, for example, there was this older couple that came to my festival last year, and they said they were following me for 2 years online before they finally got the nerve to come to the event. And they did, and they said it just changed their whole life. But it took them a while to get to there, and that's fine. Everybody is on their own path. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. Don't try to be what anybody else is being. Just be yourself, and you'll get there. You'll get there eventually.
That's amazing advice to give to people, because you know what? I was in that spot before myself, and you know, I'm not saying that I'm not living life authentically. I am, but there's also still things that I'm still working towards, of like, okay, I can't say that yet.
Yep.
Kind of thing.
And
So
that's natural. You know, like I said, it took me about 5 to 6 years. And there was definitely times in there where I was not comfortable talking about it to anybody, really, unless they were people that I knew were already into those things, you know, and that was for years like that. So it's a process. It's a process, and everybody's on their own path.
But
I mean,
it's a
hell,
process
like
you won't
I'm
regret.
7 years in personally. Like I'm 7 years in, and I'm still dealing with like the child pettiness, right? Like
Mhm.
I'm still like actively, like every now and again, like when I see someone that irritates me, I will highlight how little they're being themselves in the moment.
Yeah.
And so like there's definitely an area of growth for me in that space, right? Like
Yep.
like yes, I do go with reckless abandon, but I would say that like I'm probably a more volatile version of living your authentic self than Paul is, right? Like there's still a lot of significant growth that I have to do to bring peace to that kind of behavior, right? Like because there is still that agent of chaos nature of it, and that's my comfort zone, which
Mhm.
probably shouldn't be. You know,
Yeah.
it's disruptive, and it's intentionally disruptive, and it probably stems from a need to, if I'm uncomfortable, you all get to be uncomfortable too, kind of place, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
You know, somebody told me one time that you may be willing to speak your truth, but they may not be willing to hear your truth,
Right.
or they might not be ready to hear your truth, right?
Yep.
And that's something just keep in mind. I'm not saying don't speak your truth, but know your audience, right? Know, and don't intentionally try to make somebody uncomfortable by speaking your truth. And so it's little by little.
All right, Paul. So the last question I'm going to ask you, Ian may have a couple more queued up. But one of the questions I like to ask my guests that come on: if you were on death row, what would your last meal be?
Oh, definitely New England clam bake.
I figured it'd be 3-stack pussy.
You're right. Let's get it in one last time. Make sure it's all good to go.
Well, okay. I mean, if that was an option, if that's on the menu, but yeah, no, my death row meal is like I want
It's
the
your
lobster,
death
I
row
want the
meal.
steamer.
Anything's on the meal.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? You say lobster. You know there were prison riots
Oh yeah,
because of lobster.
yeah.
It's
My
wild.
great grandmother would never. We would try to go out for lobster, and she'd be like, "No, prisoners eat that. I don't eat that."
That's so amazing.
And me moving here from Ohio 8 years ago, I was like, lobster? What's that?
It is the insect of the sea.
Mhm.
I'm literally like, red lobster? What?
I don't know how I feel about that comment, but
Well, I've traveled in my time prior to moving here and everything, but I've never had like real good, authentic seafood until I've
Yeah,
been to
yeah.
New
I'd
England.
argue you probably still haven't.
as well. Well, you made me eat an oyster a couple years ago,
Oh, I want to go to. So I want to go down to Island Creek one day.
which was absolutely
Down in
grotesque.
Duxbury.
Oh
No,
yeah,
you
yeah.
haven't been there, Russ.
No, I meant when we went
Client of mine at
to
the financial institution I used to work with.
the place down in Plymouth,
Cabbie Shack.
Cabbie Shack, and you guys ordered oysters.
Oh, that is the Olive Garden of.
When you're here, your family.
No, it's just like it's so. I mean, it's fresh, right? But it's not like. It's still the tourist spot. We'll go down to Island Creek one day. You and I.
You know
and I
what?
will go down to Island. I'll pick you up one day. We'll go down. I'll take you down to Island Creek. It'll be a nice little date night for me and you.
All right. I'm sure the wife will approve of that. That's not a problem.
I don't think I'm going to ask the wives.
No, I don't think so either. But no, it's one of those things where like I've had seafood on the East Coast now in New England where it's supposed to be the best.
Where it is the best.
I've also had seafood out in California on the West Coast in San Francisco,
Nobody cares what Scotland thinks, Damien.
sitting on the dock, looking at Alcatraz, eating seafood. So I mean, that caviar is no. I'm good on caviar.
That's because you're a classless fool.
Yeah. Have you ever had a like a Caribbean lobster or like an Australian? Australian lobsters are interesting.
No, I don't want to go anywhere.
Weird,
I don't want to go
man.
anywhere near Australia.
No, no, Russ. I've had Australian lobster in Boston. It's a different species. Like it's
There's no claws.
No,
they don't have claws.
It's all tail. Like it's all tail and brain. Like the what we would call brain. It's different texture. Like it's
very different texture. Yeah.
Like it's not that like kind of gummy, gamey chew. It's very different.
See, I'm not a fan of lobster.
If you guys want to talk about food one time, I can tell you about all the weird food I've eaten all over the world. I've eaten some really strange stuff.
You know what's weird is
we got 8 minutes left
in Boston. I used to do the food conventions in Boston. I've had live octopus.
Oh yeah, live octopus is easy.
Well, no. It's not easy. All right, Paul, because you have to kill it before it kills you. Like it's an actual like. Well, so Russ, you take the 2 chopsticks, right, and you jam it up its sinkhole, and then you wrap the tentacles around the chopsticks, and then you fire it into your mouth, and you have to chew it to death before it locks itself around your airways.
Yeah, it's adventurous.
It's a fight. It's a fight.
Okay, so we got 7 minutes left now.
Okay,
Paul, shoot out some of the weirdest food you've eaten across your travels.
Oh, century eggs. Century eggs.
I so wanted to try century egg.
Yeah. They actually taste way better than they look.
Okay.
It tastes like concentrated egg flavor, and it's very salty.
Okay. Well, I mean, it would be, right? Like,
But one of the weird things that I've eaten recently.
I do.
Okay.
You do? Yeah. They're rotted.
I know. That's why I was kind of just like over here.
Yep. The egg white is now a translucent black, and the egg yolk is like a translucent green.
Yeah.
And
I so wanted to try one.
Yeah. I ate
Shit
one
that only shows up on blacklight.
So I was in China recently, and meeting with some colleagues over there, and told them about my business, and so they decided they were going to prepare me a special meal to help make my business prosperous. And this was like it was a
you had
ritual.
the same look I did.
Tell me about these tiger balls or something.
Yeah. So it was like the special ritual. You know, we had this special room we were in, and they brought out this dish, and it's a big dish. I mean, it was like maybe like 20 inches in diameter. with a big cover on top, and it was all like looked like brass, probably all brass. And part of the ritual was I had to open it, and inside it was basically turtle stew.
Oh, God, that is one of the worst things I've ever eaten.
But
it just
because
like
they were doing this ritual to make my business prosperous, they added in a couple of extra things into this turtle stew. One was a bull's penis.
What the fuck?
And chicken testicles.
I will tell you that bull's dick and chicken testicles 100% taste better than turtle stew. Like
it was all together, you know.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is those added positivity to an otherwise horrific dish.
What it was marinating.
Turtle stew is so. As an adult, I can say that Shredder had it wrong.
I've had turtle stew before. Trust me, I know. I grew up.
Fucking horrific.
I like
it. Is just. Did you really?
Yeah. I like the turtles.
Oh God, it is the most.
Maybe turtles in America are just. There's something going on, but I've had turtle stew in the U.S. and it is so just terrible.
It's god awful. It's god awful.
It tastes like the swamp shit a swamp.
The penis, the bull's penis was the worst part of the stew, I would say.
Really?
Did you get the tip? Is that what you got?
No,
just the tip.
It's they cut it in slices.
Was it a texture thing or a flavor thing?
Texture. It was like
because I'd imagine the bull's penis probably just absorbed all the turtle stew flavor.
Yeah, but it had the texture of like wax almost.
Ooh,
almost like a wax sponge that might inflate if you were to pump blood into it.
Yeah, like a waxy sponge. Yeah.
Paul, you're not helping yourself. Ian's baiting you into something right now.
No, I'm not. He knows exactly what I said. We're on the same page, Russ. I don't think I'm going to be able to bait Paul into anything.
I mean, that, like, I grew up in Ohio. I've had turtle stew. I've had squirrel. I've had rabbit.
Squirrel's actually not bad.
Squirrel's actually really not bad.
Yeah, really not bad, yeah.
But like, you got Damien in the chat room. Also, the haggis.
Oh, haggis
it's
is
the
great.
same fucking thing.
Oh, I love
haggis. Really isn't like brown and white. Black and white pudding is one of my favorite breakfast accoutrements.
I get it every Sunday.
Oh, do you really?
White pudding every Sunday.
Where?
I go to the cottage in Weymouth.
You got to check out the Voyage down in Marshfield, man.
Oh, okay.
The Voyage is good.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah.
They're full Irish.
Yeah, that's what I get every Sunday morning at the cottage.
Where is the cottage in Weymouth? I actually have never heard of this. The wife and I do breakfast tours, and the cottage is never hit.
You know that crazy intersection in South Weymouth that doesn't have a stoplight?
Yes.
It's like a 5-way intersection with no stoplight.
Yeah.
It's right there.
No shit.
Yeah.
I'm usually white knuckling through there, so that's probably why I haven't noticed.
Yeah, like everybody else. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Ian, let's wrap this up. And the last question is for Paul.
No, I think you asked him for advice for anybody that's out there that's trying to live authentic. We've talked about bull penis.
And Rob has to go to prepare his bull penis right now. So, I mean,
Rob, I got to say, if you're going to take a bull penis, you really should prepare it.
You really should.
Yeah. Because you could do some significant damage if you don't prepare appropriately. All I'm saying is a lot of olive oil, like
screenshots
really
didn't happen. Okay.
Let it season before you put it in the pan. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like I said, screenshots or it didn't happen.
Lingua is delicious, by the way. Lingua is not a weird food. It is delicious.
Cow tongue's actually not bad.
Cow tongue is fucking amazing.
Cow tongue's delicious, actually.
Cow tongue is fucking amazing. It is the most concentrated, delicate beef taste you will ever have.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yes, sir.
No, I got nothing, Russ.
All right.
I have my standard final words, and that is it.
Well, why don't you lead us out, sir?
All right. Well, everybody out there, thank you for joining us, and stay blessed.
Thanks, guys.
The first annual Maine Paranormal and Horror Con is coming to Maine on September 6th and 7th at the Augusta Civic Center. Come meet your favorite paranormal investigators, cryptid hunters, and horror icons. Special guests include John Zaffis, the haunted collector from Sci-Fi, Jeff and Willie from Mountain Monsters, Bob Elmore Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, CJ Graham, also known as Jason Voorhees from Jason Lives Part 6, Ronnie LeBlanc from Expedition Bigfoot, and many more to be announced. Tickets are on sale now. Go to mainparahorror.com to get your tickets and VIP packages now. For more information, check out Maine Paranormal and Horror Con on Facebook and Instagram.